Hello, my name is Hannah Squire, and we're going to go over gut-liver axis analysis. We're going to review the 5 articles provided, first starting with the review of gut dysbiosis. So in summary, there's accumulation of previous research done that supports evidence that the gut dysbiosis relates to liver disease. It covers the topics of alcohol, association between gut microbiota changes, and it also covers the topics of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and dysbiosis as well. Some key takeaways from the results section was that in alcoholic patients, it was shown that gut microbial changes are likely the causation of lack of motility in the gastric pH, motility in the intestines, and an altered immune response. There was also a lack of biodiversity in the gut, and it was associated with lower recovery rates in patients who had liver transplants and patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which had higher amounts of pathogenic taxa. Moving on to our second article, it was called Gut-Liver Axis in Alcoholic Liver Disease. And as an overview, we can see that this article reviews the literature that studies ALD, alcoholic liver disease, in relation to liver cirrhosis and the association with this disease to the gut microbiome. When looking at the results, some key takeaways is first, the gut microbiome can be disrupted by alcoholic consumption and cause the intestine's epithelial barrier and increase gut permeability, which plays a huge role in ALD. Second, we can see that there's an increased alcohol consumption. When there is this, there is an association with an imbalance of pathogenic and commensal organisms in the intestines, which may contribute to abnormal gut-liver axis in ALD. Moving on to our third article, it is called Gut Microbiome and Liver Disease. And as a summary, we can see that this article was an overview of the gut microbiota changes in the progression of chronic liver disease in relation to alcohol, as well as one pre-cirrhotic non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, and microbiota treatments in liver disease as well. When looking at the results section, some key takeaway points to keep in mind is that the microbiota found in the stool, gut, and saliva all play a role in the development and progression of liver disease and cirrhosis. And lastly, we can see that a bacteria called Lactobacillus johnsoni has been given with antioxidants and is shown to actually reduce bacterial translocation with those that have cirrhosis, which is really interesting. Moving on to our next article that we are looking at, it is called Links of Gut Microbiota Composition with Alcohol Dependency Syndrome and ALD. As a summary, we can look that this article is a comparative shotgun metagenomic survey study that involved 99 patients who suffered from alcoholism, where one group had cirrhosis and the other group did not. The gut microbiota composition of the groups were analyzed for the purpose of seeing the effects of alcohol and cirrhosis on the gut microbiota. And this was actually the only actual study that we're going to look at today. The rest of the articles are summaries. So in the results of this study, both patients with and without liver cirrhosis had commensal bacteria microbiota that was depleted. Second, we can see that the alcoholic dependent subjects had an inverse relationship with clostridiols, which produces pyruvate, and that increases inflammation. And lastly, even though there was an association with the bifidobacterium and lactobacillus in both groups, we can see that the species differ between alcoholic dependent and cirrhosis groups. And the last article we're going to look at is called Microbiome as Therapy for ALD. As an overview, this article is a summary of microbes as therapy by using fecal microbiota as a transfer in patients with liver disease. This reviews the mechanistic contributions of gut microbiota how gut microbiota transplants happen logistically, the influence of diet, as well as how probiotics, prebiotics, and antibiotics played a role in this setting. As a result summarized in this study, we can see that the gut microbiota has a role in development of ALD and increases hepatic inflammation. And lastly, in this study, we could see that microbiome therapies restores microbiome diversity, and diet and probiotic promotes this as well, which is pretty interesting. So overall, when looking at these studies, there's strong evidence from these 5 summary articles as well as research articles, and that the gut dysbiosis does relate to liver disease. And although there is a variation between the gut microbiome and these in different levels of the liver disease and cirrhosis, there's still an increase in gut microbiome that increases inflammation. Some gut microbiome treatments have been done, and slight benefits were found in these results of the studies as well. So here are the 5 journal citations, and thank you so much.